Alright, so it's recorded. So what do I think of reincarnation? I may not remember exactly what I said, but
Okay.
Reincarnation to me is makes the creator look like a disaster. It it shows him as a as a as a superior being, that is not that superior in the fact that he keeps bringing back to life the animals and the humans, proving that either he has made a mistake in their creation, because let's say he created a human being and then he sends them back to become a cow, which is less, which is in a lower level, in a lower category. And then let's say that he takes another man, and that man comes back as a cockroach, which is even lower than the cow. And so God is, the creator is actually regressing, and he's torturing his creation. He's making himself look like a mad scientist. He's experimenting with the humans and the animals, to a degree that, okay, so you were a human, now you're going to be a cow. Let's see how you function as a cow. Okay, you were a cow, now you're going to be a cockroach. Let's see how you function as a cockroach. It's really stupid. And so it really makes God, who is supposed to be a superior being, look like a mad scientist, who enjoys torturing his creation because he can't seem to get it right. And of course, it's the purpose of reincarnation is to eventually reach the level of God or of the creator. But in this case, the creator is purposely playing with the humans and the animals, playing but also torturing them, because they keep coming back as something else and something else, until finally he says, okay, this is like your fifth time. Next time you will reach godliness and you'll be next to me, or something like that. So yeah, reincarnation is a joke, because of those factors. It makes the creator look stupid, and it makes his creation go through torture.
That made me think of a couple points, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, I think there's the idea that a person goes through life and they have, whatever kinks or whatever to get worked out on their path to becoming upright and according to Yah. And so when they die, they might come back as another person. They may not. Maybe the whole concept doesn't even have to include coming back as an animal or something like that. But that they come back as another person so that they can continue on their progression to becoming an upright, according to Yah, person. And so that's one idea that I think that some people that believe in reincarnation may have.
Right.
But then it also made me think that with the idea of reincarnation, it seems to be that there's two possible choices. Either the reincarnation depends on the person and them either succeeding or not in getting the kinks worked out and getting upright and stuff, and getting their journey to being, according to Yah, getting that journey fulfilled.
Oh, yeah.
And so they have to come back since they haven't completed the journey in this life.
I think reincarnation, believing people believe in free will. So then, if they do believe in free will, that would mean that it's half and half. It's part of the individual's responsibility and part of the creator's.
Huh.
So, go on.
Oh, okay. The other option is that it's the creator who's doing it, so it's not up to a person, and it's not determined by the person. It's determined by the creator.
Yeah.
And then he's deciding. I just lost my thought. He's deciding that the person has to go through this. So even though they're not the one that's deciding if they're good enough, the creator's deciding if they're good enough or not. But then he's choosing for them to have to go through life again, to have to go through the human experience in this life and this reality again, since he is determined to make them not capable of fulfilling that the first time around. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So he's determining that they're not going to be good enough in this life, and he's determining that they're going to have to do a repeat. But then, if you don't mind me just saying some of the things that I thought were possible objections to it, there's a disproportion from the people that have been born in the past and people that are born in the present. So not everyone alive today could say that they've been reincarnated, because there's not enough people in the past to do that. Unless you want to say that someone in the past got reincarnated into more than one person.
I think that's why some people that believe in reincarnation include animals.
I think they would have to.
Yeah.
But then, well, I just as a side comment on that, since we're talking about the animals, I saw that. I just watched a really interesting video on this. That human beings are the only ones that are made in the image of Yah. That no animals are made in the image of Yah. Only human beings.
According to our understanding, yes. But I don't know about the Hindu understanding. Since in Hindu and in the other religions where they believe in all those deities that are half animal and half gods, or half animal and half human.
Yeah, I'm just going on Yireh and the truths of Yireh, because I know that there is no other deity besides Yireh.
Right.
And so if any other religion wants to claim that there's a deity besides Yireh, they're just wrong. That's all there is to it. I could extrapolate on that, but it's just...
Oh, that's fine.
They're wrong. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so only human beings are made in the image of Yireh. So to try to say that an animal gets reincarnated into a human crosses the boundary between the boundary of the image of Yireh.
Wow, that's exciting. That's a real good explanation.
Thank you. I don't think that's possible. But then other objections that I see, potential objections, are that they have a misunderstanding of what a soul is. Because a soul is a nefesh, and what a nefesh actually is like your nefesh is the entirety of who you are. It's your body and your mind and your brain and your skin and your blood and your bones and your personality and everything that makes you you. That's your nefesh. It's the entirety of who you are.
Yes, and that includes animals.
Yeah, animals are a nefesh because it's the entirety of what an animal is. Now, of course, human beings are different than all other animals.
Yeah.
When I say other animals, I mean all animals put together.
Yeah.
But yeah, animals, like, like my dog is a nefesh.
Uh-huh.
And I don't even know if it would make sense to say that he has a nefesh, but he has himself. He has his body and his brain and his instincts and his blood and bones and his, personality, as much as animals have personality, and
Right.
and his, his hunger and his desire for affection, and all of those things.
Right. Right.
He's a nefesh. So yeah, I think there's a misunderstanding of what a soul is. Now, of course, we have like your inner person, like your mind and your thoughts and your will and your emotions.
Yeah, that's more
your
of
personality.
That's like the spirit, the ruah.
The ruach is the breath. So actually, your breath of life.
The suki.
Pardon?
Suki.
Suki?
I think that's how you say it in Greek.
Oh yeah, suke. Yeah. So, but it's your inner person. So, but the breath is actually like your breath of life, and the breath is the kind of the symbolic tangibleness of the unseen part of you. So like how your breath, when you can breathe on your hand and the air goes out, your breath goes out on your hand, right?
Right.
But you don't see it. It's not something you can see, and I think it's basically a symbolism of the unseen part of you. There's part of you that exists that cannot be seen. Your mind and your will and your emotions and your personality.
At least it can't be seen in the state of mind of normality.
Right. I believe Yah can see it.
Yeah.
But we can't. I mean, I can't look at you and go, "Oh, there's your personality." I see it with my eyes. I mean, we just can't do that.
Right.
I mean, we can say, "I see your personality and your facial expressions," but that's not actually seeing your personality. That's just seeing expressions of your personality.
I know.
So I think that reincarnation misunderstands what a soul is. It doesn't. It disconnects from what a soul actually is, because all a soul is the entirety of who you are.
Yes.
So to say that a soul would be reincarnated would be to say that you will come back in another life in this world with your body and your personality and your bones and blood and brain and makeup and everything about you. You'll come back as exactly the same person, almost like a clone. Which I don't think. I mean, I guess there's some people that think that can happen, but I'm not convinced of that at all. But so that's one objection. Then another objection I have to it is it promotes bigotry and prejudice.
Oh wow!
Because you can say that one person, say you don't like some person for whatever reason, they seem evil or they're wicked or whatever. You can say, oh well, they haven't reached a higher level of reincarnation yet.
Yes.
So, and you can think that you have reached a higher level, and so you could be bigoted toward that person. You're lower than me because you're not as advanced as me.
And I think that does happen.
Oh yeah, it happens, like, the caste system in India?
Yeah.
That's huge. It's hugely based on reincarnation and how some people are just lower because they're born that way and they have to die before they can get to the next level.
Right.
So this whole life, they're a lower form of human being. So it hugely promotes bigotry and prejudice. And then another thing that I had for it was that in reality, I believe humanity is probably getting stupider, less capable, and more morally corrupt.
Yeah, right.
Humanity is downhill.
Yes.
I believe that when Adam and Hawa, when they were first made, and actually throughout their whole lives, they probably had a progression downhill throughout their lives, which is actually something that we see now. Like when you're born, you have a lot of youthfulness that you may keep. It may be evident for a while throughout your years, but as you get older, you start deteriorating. Your body starts deteriorating. You may mature in your mind for a long time. In fact, you may gain wisdom and experience as time goes on. But it's common for when people age that they reach a point where their mind starts deteriorating. They may have what is that called? You know, the disease where people don't even remember who they are or their relatives or anything.
Amnesia or Alzheimer's?
Alzheimer's, yeah. They may get Alzheimer's, and I mean, so it's just it's a deterioration of the inner person. So there's this deterioration going on, and then if we look in nature and the creation, we see entropy. You know, the second law of thermodynamics that says everything is running down. You know, like rust and deterioration, and how I've heard like that eventually, maybe billions of years from now, the universe will end up being a cold, dead, lifeless universe with no energy around. Mm-hmm. Just dead and lifeless.
Right. Because
there's entropy, because things are running down. So I think, and I think that that it's evidence that things are getting more morally corrupt. I don't know if anybody could really argue with that. I mean, you could look back in history and you could say, yeah, but things have been morally corrupt throughout history. But and so maybe it goes in cycles, but I think that there's evidence that instead of things getting morally better and people becoming more upright, that it's actually just getting worse.
Yeah, and with technology, with the internet and all this technology, it's more easier to actually hurt people because you could talk bad about them on the internet and post it all over so that the world will see it, and then teenagers are committing suicide because they're being bullied. It's called cyberbullying.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But that's a really good point, because even on the internet and just looking at how people converse with each other, how much of internet interaction is good, wholesome, beneficial, uplifting, encouraging, inspiring interaction, and how much of it is morally corrupt, you know, either harmful or like I know a lot of times when I'm just, you know, when I'm on YouTube or whatever, it's almost like going into a battlefield.
Yeah.
Because people, so many times, people that are in the internet are so ready to attack.
Yeah, they are.
And to tear into each other.
Yep.
So that's just another, I mean, and I see that it's probably not only on YouTube, but a lot of places. You see it, whether it's on Facebook or, you know, some other social media,
right,
or just any kind of website where there can be interaction between people. There's often that kind of hostility or animosity, or not even, maybe not even hostility or animosity, but discord between people, even if they're very intelligent and they have a lot of facts and they're able to speak eloquently. There's still a lot of this discord. You know what I mean?
I know.
So that's one big evidence I have is just the deterioration of creation and the world we live in, and of life and everything. I mean, just deterioration and things getting worse and getting lower. And then another point I had was that how is child death accounted for in reincarnation?
How is
if child dies, huh?
How is child what's?
Child death.
Oh, when a child dies, okay.
Right, a baby or a child dying. How does that work in reincarnation? I don't know how that would be addressed.
I don't know. But it's a good thought.
And then my last thing, I was just writing down what you were saying about how it undermines Yue's capability and his omniscience and everything really.
Right.
And who is there? What person is there to determine? How would any human being determine when somebody's reached the goal of whatever process reincarnation would be. Do you know what I mean?
I think there is an individual or some individuals that are already at the enlightened level, and they are the ones that are kind of like Jesus or Yeshua, and so I guess they would be the ones that say, okay, you're ready to step up to the next level or something like that.
But there's no human being that's in a position to be able to judge that, because to be able to adequately judge that, they would have to have the knowledge and the moral excellence of deity, and there's no human being who has the knowledge of deity.
Well,
and because there's no human being who has the knowledge of deity, there's no human being who is capable of having that moral excellence.
Well, yeah, of course, you and I know that to be true, but yet people think that they are a deity that is not God yet, but they are just a few steps below God, and they're 100 steps above humanity. And so I think that that's how some of these religions think of their people, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think you're probably right, but it's not feasible. It's not possible.
Right.
Because in order for them to have the moral excellence that they may think they have, or that they may be claiming that they have, they would have to have all knowledge.
Yeah, right.
Because in order to have that moral excellence, they would have to know what effect each one of their actions is going to have on the rest of history, on all of the future. And they don't know that. And they don't know how their acts would be the best progression from the entirety of the past. So since they're lacking that complete, full knowledge, they're incapable of having moral excellence. It's just not possible.
Very good.
Because they're not going to be able to determine what effects their actions are going to have on the rest of time.
Right. I agree.
So that's an impossibility. So right there, it negates any human being from being able to determine what they need to be reincarnated for, or if they need to be reincarnated, or if any human being has ever needed to be reincarnated, because they don't have the knowledge of the moral excellence to be able to determine those things.
Right. If reincarnation was true, then the only capable entity that could perform that would be God.
Yeah, the Creator.
The Creator.
He would be the only one possibly capable of knowing that.
Yeah.
So to determine if a person has come to a necessary level of perfection or of maturity, he would be the only one that would know that. So there's no human being that can say, well, they seem capable enough that they don't need to be reincarnated anymore, or they don't seem capable enough so they need to be reincarnated more.
Yeah,
there's
right.
a human being that's able to judge that.
Yes. Very good.
So that's just, and then of course there's a scripture that says, it is appointed for people to die once, and after that to be decided on, to face judgment.
Yeah.
So scripture indicates, and plus scripture indicates that after death, that we sleep.
Yes.
So if we're sleeping, we can't be reincarnated if we're dead, because death is a form of sleep. It's no knowledge, no activity, no thought, no nothing.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I think that's what it is. But yeah, I think the worst part of it is the thought of having to come back to this reality. Because if a person is realizes what this reality is actually, what's actually going on in this reality, it's a reality of suffering. Even if they don't realize it, they experience it. It's a reality of suffering. It's a reality of hardship. It's a reality of evil. So to have to come back here, to me, that's just a horribly depressing thought.
Yes, yes, it is.
Horribly depressing.
Yes, it is, and it depicts the creator as evil.
Yes, it depicts him as evil because he's sending. It's not bad enough that humanity has to suffer through this life the first time around. He sends them back.
Yeah.
To me, that's very sadistic.
Yeah, right. Yes, it is. Interesting. So I recorded this whole conversation.
Awesome.
So it's 30 minutes long, more or less, or it's a little.
Yeah.
It's a little over 30 minutes, I think. I can turn it off now, right?
Yeah. Is there any last points you want to touch on or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think there is either. I think that's mostly why I see it as an impossible and very detrimental and evil.
Very good. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.